whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right? All right. I'll holla. Peace. All right, what's up, family? You know, I don't come on here early. I'm always here on Thursdays, but I don't come on Thursdays in the afternoon unless
the consequences of the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade and allowing states to ban abortion are broad and sometimes unexpected. For instance,
So this is complete.
Okay, so breaking news. Jason Williams has been acquitted on all charges. That's right. Jason Williams beat the rap. They tried to get him. He had 10 counts. And just to break it down, the counts that he was facing, now he was charged as a co-defendant with Nicole Barrett, his law partner, and I'm explaining a little bit what happened with her. But he was acquitted on all charges in a federal tax fraud trial. And Jason, of course, he's the district attorney of the city of New Orleans. Had he been convicted, he would have actually been forced not only to step down as DA, he would have lost his license to practice. Williams had maintained his innocence throughout, saying the federal prosecution's case stemmed from political motives. The trial was handed over to the jury after a week. Neither Williams nor Burdick was put on the stand to testify. The federal government tried to prove that Williams and his law partner, Nicole Burdick, were willful and knowledgeable of the false amounts on their tax returns. Basically, that they inflated these numbers saying for their write-offs and saying they knew about it, and they, of course, denied it, saying it was not true. Now, what's up, Torian Rain, Danielle, some chick named Star, love you, Vulcan. Let's just play a video. I think this is his lawyer. I met her before. I think her name was Lisa Wayne. I can't be sure, but
exoneration. You all heard the evidence. Those of you in the courtroom, he needs to move on, and he will do that.
Can you describe his emotions with Nicole being found guilty? How difficult is this for him to be relieved on one hand but have his law partner?
I mean, the reality is Nicole would have never been under the radar, but for the fact that they wanted Jason, and they were willing to take collateral damage to anybody else who was associated with him. So, you know, that feels badly. That always feels badly for anyone who's accused. But like Billy said, hopefully she'll be exonerated here ultimately as well. He says, we got to go.
Thank you.
The consequences of the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade and allowing
I don't want this shit. Sorry about that, y'all. So let's go to some other networks. We got Fair Use, by the way. This is, of course, does not create fair use. This information, anything I pick from these websites, from the news, are, while they are copywritten, they are subject to the Fair Use of the Copyright Act of 1976, which does allow for copyright material to be used if it is used for the purposes of education, educational news, commentary, nonprofit, and so forth. So that's Jason Williams as he walked towards the U.S. District Courthouse. Now, y'all know with federal court, ladies and gentlemen, if they got you, they got you. And normally they're going to try to get you. They don't waste their tax dollars. They don't waste their time and money, although the federal government, as you know, has unlimited amount of power and money to go after someone. So they have unlimited resources. They will go after you if they have a solid case or if it is politically motivated, or you're some type of political prisoner or racial thing. That stuff does go on. Now, Jason is not the first Black district attorney of the city of New Orleans. That honor, or dishonor, if you would say, could go to your Eddie Jordan, who was the first DA back in, I want to say 2003. And he only did one term as DA. And they did not want your Eddie Jordan as district attorney. I remember, he had issues. He was actually sued out for firing most of the staff that worked in Orleans Parish and tried to make it reflective of the demographic in the city of New Orleans. Now, Eddie Jordan was actually a former federal prosecutor who actually got Edwin Edwards locked up, the former governor of the state of Louisiana. And Jason, of course, he comes in after Leon Cannizzaro, who was arguably one of the worst district attorneys that this city has ever faced. I mean, from the fact that he was actually issuing phony subpoenas to arrest witnesses to testify at a trial, to his DA's office being accused, and I think this is confirmed, of using attorney-client privileged information at trial. All of this stuff was going on. And he had to, of course, he chose not to run again, but I don't think he will run again. But everybody knows who Jason Williams is, being that he is Lil Boosie lawyer. Now, Nicole Burdett, his law partner, was found guilty of 4 separate counts of falsifying her income taxes. However, Jason Williams was acquitted on falsifying taxes, as well as, falsely. It was, I can't remember the exact terms of it, but basically they accused him of falsifying his income tax reports and tax fraud. And the problem with that, when you're talking about fraud in general, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not a tax attorney, but there is, and if you listen to the reports, there has to be what's called intent. Now, in law in general, if you accuse someone of certain crimes, have an intent element. Of course, you probably may have heard of this, but actus rea, what we learned in law school, there's 5 separate. I should know this because I taught criminal law, but there are 5 separate things that involve crime. Of course, there's causation, meaning there's actus reus, causation, the consequences that result from the act, mens rea, which is the mental element. Gosh, I can't even remember, but it's I should remember this. This is embarrassing, but it is actus rea, mens rea, and causation, and so forth. However, with mens rea, we're looking at intent. And certain crimes, like murder, for instance, requires what's called specific intent, meaning you actually acquiesce to the consequences that were going to flow from your actions. So when someone murders someone, that person had to have actually known that their actions would have likely caused that person's death or some type of substantial harm that would lead to their death. So someone who smothers, elderly patient, that they can't breathe without air, just like in every normal human being, you hold the pillow over them and you kill them. Well, you had to have known that unless you suffer some type of mental defect. And when we're talking about in Louisiana, for instance, how we define fraud, there has to be just like with theft, there has to be an intent to deprive someone. You know that something is false and you do it knowing you're doing it falsely. That's what intent means. And what happened here is that they were not able to find that Jason, I think, intended to do that. Now, he was acquitted, but she wasn't, which, you heard his attorneys who spoke. They say that this was basically a plan to go after him, and this was collateral damages. This is not in the Canadian Criminal Code, computer robots. This is just what I've learned in law school. And when our teachers taught us criminal law, what I've learned and what I've taught my students is that there is actus, but it is universal. Yes, it's universally accepted in different jurisdictions, but actus rea, mens rea, causation. And a prosecutor has to prove the elements of the crime that's defined in the statute. So if we say theft, for instance, in Louisiana, theft is defined as the taking of anything belonging to another individual with the intent, which is the specific intent element, to permanently deprive that person. That's theft. Now, you have to prove there was a taking, something of value, it belonged to someone else, and the intent to deprive. If you cannot prove any of those elements beyond a reasonable doubt, then you will be acquitted, or should be acquitted. Right. She was correct, Dominic. It was separate charges for her own personal tax fraud. But what they were saying in the press conference, I don't know if you caught it, Jason's attorney saying that the prosecutors were trying to go after him. And around 2020 was the same year that Jason was elected to the district attorney's office when these allegations started to surface. So was it politically motivated? I think a lot of people didn't want Jason Williams to be district attorney, to be honest with you. Have I been particularly impressed with his office? The jury is still out. I'm not impressed, obviously, with the crime in the city. I certainly, even though I'm a criminal defense lawyer, there is a problem, I acknowledge, in the city with the way that our leadership our leadership I'm reading the comments, in the district attorney's office, and more so in the police department's office, is highly questioned. We had, a lot of people don't notice, but we've had 100 police officers that actually, and I'm going to do a video about this, that have stepped down in the city. And some who have quit on duty, like in the middle of their shift. There is a shortage. They've lost 150 officers in 1 year. This was from February 2nd of 2020. And this year, in 2021, and this year, they've had 100 officers quit. Now, does it have anything to do with Black Lives Matter? Does it have anything to do with defund the police? I think that morale that's
concerns
low.
about crime in New Orleans continue to mount. Cops are leaving NOPD in droves.
And that's the topic of this week's commentary by Eyewitness News political analyst and Gambit columnist Clancy Dubose.
NOPD is hemorrhaging officers, and the main reason isn't low pay, it's low morale. 10 years ago, New Orleans had more than 1,300 cops. Today, it has less than 1,000.
Fair use.
Almost 100 officers have quit this year. In exit interviews commissioned by NOPD, officers cite punitive discipline, restrictive policies, rundown gear, lack of support from police brass, and internal politics among their main reasons for leaving. Worst of all, they and others see no signs that things are likely to change. Mayor Cantrell continues to stand by Chief Sean Ferguson, but one city council member, J.P. Morrell, has already demanded Ferguson's resignation. If things don't turn around soon, Morrell won't be the only one calling for change at the top.
This has been an expression of
That's Jason's wife right there. That's him walking out of court to and fro. But yeah, Lisa Wayne, Jason's attorney. Yeah, I know that was Lisa Wayne. She's actually was a brilliant lawyer. I had a CLE with her some while back. But let's play a little video. This is from Eyewitness News. This was when the verdict was announced earlier today.
Nielsen on the phone. Bill, can you give us your thoughts on this?
I think, first of all, you got to congratulate the attorney for Mr. Williams. He obviously did a great job because he was able to show that there was no willfulness with regard to Mr. Williams and the way his tax returns were prepared. It's interesting to me that they didn't have, today with emails and text messages, they didn't have that with Mr. Williams and the return preparer. And I think that played a big part in this.
So there's reasonable doubt there.
And I have to imagine, I wasn't in the courtroom, but when they read the 4 guilty counts for Nicole Nicole Burdett on the separate charges, I mean, Jason Williams' heart must have dropped, thinking, "Oh no, it's going to happen to them too."
Yeah, well, that's true. But Nicole was the one that apparently interacted with the tax preparer, and I think that might have sunk her ship.
Yeah, and these were separate charges from the 10 that both of them were facing together.
Yes, and one was a preparation of his tax returns, and one was a preparation of hers.
And for all the time and money spent for the prosecution to because they do look at losses and wins, this is a big loss for the prosecution with Jason Williams. Although they can claim at least some victory with the conviction of Nicole Burdett.
Yeah, but that wasn't the focus of this investigation. No. It was Mr. Williams for sure, and maybe they threw Nicole in there, hoping that maybe she pleaded and then would turn on Mr. Williams, which she didn't do. Yeah, it's a loss.
And you've got to wonder if going through her mind, because she's facing prison time now and the loss of her law license. Maybe she should have cooperated. I don't know what's going through her head right now.
Yeah, she had excellent counsel for sure. And I just think that they made a trial decision and decided to go with it together. And it worked for Mr. Williams. It didn't work for Nicole.
And how hard is it, and how often does it happen where the government goes before a jury on a tax case like this? Because it's hard to prove these things in court.
Right, and that gets me back to the emails and text messages that were apparently not there between the return preparer and Mr. Williams or Nicole Burdett. If you have your taxes prepared, your CPA or your accountant is going to email you, well, what does this mean? What does that mean? What do you think of this? And you usually email them back. They didn't seem to have that in this case. And I think that was a big benefit for Mr. Williams, and I think it was a detriment to Nicole.
Yeah. And are you surprised by what happened in court today?
No, because willfulness is very difficult. It's not an omission of income case. It's a deduction case. And I think it worked well for Mr. Williams by him not having much, if any, interaction with the return preparer.
But not so good for Nicole Burdett.
No.
All right. Bill Nielsen, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
That right there is the reason why I think Jason got off. In large part, he didn't have any communication with this tax preparer who turned state's evidence because he was caught on income tax fraud himself, and they apparently worked with him by meaning this government, wanted to go after Jason Williams. They asked him to give all the information he had, and he had nothing on Jason because Jason never really communicated with him. So you couldn't prove he conspired to cheat on his taxes, unlike her, who had more communication with him, which is why they convicted her and he didn't. So, and unfortunately for Miss Burdett, she's going to lose her law license to practice law, because if you become a convicted felon in the state of Louisiana, you cannot practice law, sadly. That is what happened here. But Jason walks. Am I surprised? I'm not surprised by it. I thought, especially as it was going to go further, I felt that he was going to get acquitted. The further it went on, his attorneys, he was represented by Billy Gibbons and Lisa Monette Wayne. Lisa Monette Wayne is a very good criminal defense lawyer. That's her thing. Michael Magner, by the way, represented Burdett. I don't know too much about him. I know Miss Wayne, but they say they're all high-profile lawyers. And according to this article from WDSU, they say that Wayne's doggedness and Magner's ostentatious style, excuse me. So Wayne's doggedness and Magner's ostentatious style that stood out throughout the entirety of the trial. So they stood out. Whew. What y'all think? Magner's approach was more extravagant, especially when it came to the questioning of Henry Timothy. His focus on Timothy's ability to prepare taxes. Magner referred to Timothy as a psychopath and a sociopath, saying he only took one class and claimed he had an MBA. So the prosecutors put this guy on who was a known liar. So there's a credibility issue. But I guess being that Burdett was the business manager for the law firm that she and Jason ran, that's why they felt that she had to have more knowledge about this than Jason. They had an FBI forensic accountant who looked at Williams' trips, which included trips to Florida, Hawaii, Colorado, Panama, and Italy. Burdett's records show she traveled to Disney World multiple times, a couple of Carnival cruises, and several other trips that turned out to be her husband's work trips that he reimbursed. So that's the problem. So then they said that Williams' ex-wife, Bridget Bartholomew, took the stand and testified about her knowledge of her ex-husband's tax problems. She was married to Jason from 2008 to 2016 and said they met in 2003 and separated in 2014. According to Bartholomew, she would come to Williams' office on a regular basis to get cash from the safe. Later in the marriage, Williams would bring her the money after she said the safe was locked. Bartholomew testified that there was always a lot of cash in the safe. She said the cash was mainly in $100 bills and said that she did not question the amount of money. She said she assumed it was payments from clients. According to Bartholomew, she had no knowledge of the protocols behind how the cash was obtained or accounted for in the safe. She also said that she didn't have regular access to the money, and Burdett took over not only the firm's expenses, but also her family's personal expenses. The prosecution asked Bartholomew to confirm her husband's signature on a tax form. She confirmed it was Williams' signature on the form, but said the signature for the spouse was not hers, according to Bartholomew. She also said she found out Williams took out a life insurance policy on her after their divorce without her knowledge and made himself the beneficiary. Ooh. Just saying, let me hurry up and get this divorce and get the hell out of here. Motherfucker ain't gonna kill me. I'm just messing with you, Jason. Jason was gonna pull a murder she wrote. She got scared. A Matlock episode. He pulled that straight out of Matlock. I think it's already awkward. I'm not going to be too long, family, but I wanted to come on and talk about this breaking news, what your thoughts are. I'm glad they didn't get him. He ought to be saying 20 Hail Marys, 10 Our Fathers, light a candle at St. Joseph's Catholic Church. Thank Buddha, Jehovah, whoever. Yahweh, whoever he worships. But thank God, thank somebody was looking out for him, because had he been convicted on just one count of these, Jason Williams would have not only lost his law license, so he would have not been able to practice law anymore. Not in this state, and probably not in any other state. That's just how it is. It's almost like a one strike thing that happens once you get convicted of something. That's why try and stay out of trouble. Lawyers, you got to be careful with your accounting, monitoring everything. Monitor everything. Know know the people in your office who you work with. And that's just not it. Lawyers, that's for everybody. Watch your accounting, because people try and screw you over. But we're going to wrap this up. I will be back later on tonight at 8 with your Sean James and I, who will randomly discuss these topics that have affected our Thursdays. It's from a Matlock, a Knives Out. Jason is Ransom from Knives Out. You've got to be shitting me. His wife is Marta Cabrera. His wife is Christopher Plummer. Harlan, we're going to send Daniel Craig down here to investigate. Oh, Harlan, that would be... you know who my next impersonation is? Is Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig, he does that accent like Harlan. That Southern, that Kentucky fried accent. Harlan bought this property 30 years ago from an Iranian developer. That's my Daniel Craig impression of Harlan as a deputy, as a private eye. I think that would be Woolley. That's right, Skip. I'm so glad Jason Williams didn't get that. This is Shaw, number 84, greatest tight end of all times. And I just want to say right now, Skip, I got to say for Jason Williams, Skip, Jason Williams, I'm so impressed. I was impressed with you, the way you handled yourself, Jason Williams. I was impressed, Skip, the way Jason Williams handled himself in that trial, Skip. Because if it was me, I'd have slapped the shit out of that prosecutor. That prosecutor got his ass whooped, trying to accuse Shay Sharp of stealing something, of tax fraud. I pay all my taxes, Skip. You heard Shay Sharp right from Fairfield, Georgia. I ain't have no problem, Skip. I have no problem with taxes. I pays mine. I ain't trying to end up like Red Fox. I ain't trying to end up like Sammy Davis Jr. I'm going to get my restitution. I get my refund. But personally, that's right, Shannon, because, Charles Barkley, he's going to leave inside the NBA on TNT because they say, I'm going to watch golf. I could talk and comment on golf and make $75 million, Ernie. 75, I don't have to deal with Ernie, Shaq, that knucklehead, or Kenneth. I don't have to deal with them bastards no more. And I can still eat Subway. I could still, only thing I miss, I won't be able to talk about Anthony Davis no more. A street clothes Anthony Davis, I could still get him from Gulf Coast because Anthony Davis, he gonna get his third, he gonna get like 10 points, but he gonna still mess up. He gonna find a way. Street clothes always find a way to mess up, Ernie. All right, y'all. We're gonna get out of here right now. Charles Barkley gonna get out of here because I gotta go do some more work. And Ernie, I just want to say the Lakers, they're gonna lose this series without street clothes. I gotta get out of here because I don't want to lose my cases either and end up like Anthony Davis. I don't want to do that, Ernie. It'd be terrible. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all at 8 o'clock on time because I don't do black people time. I come on Japanese people time. I'll be here by 7:55 in the morning before 8 o'clock, Ernie. I got to do it because TNT, they pay my bills. All right, I'll see y'all. Good night. Charles Barkley, your ass crazy. See y'all tonight, Skip.